Good morning. We're going to go with the best of KC and our year in review for the KC Auction Company today. Thank you for watching Behind the Gavel with Jason today. It's the first Friday in 2020, which is an exciting time. So we're going to do a review of 2019 for us. Let me just share this on my page real quick. Instantly share this post. So 2019 was an incredibly busy year here at the auction company. Didn't realize quite how busy we were until I started looking at some data, some information, and looking through my calendar over the last year to see what exactly I had done. And it was quite a little bit. So let's start with the main thing. We're an auction company, right? So let's talk about our auctions for the last year. Over 2019, we had 17 auctions. Everything from our largest ever estate jewelry collection sold at auction to the Michael Volbrock estate, which was a lot of fun, a lot of interesting thing. Our first ever fashion and couture auction went really quite well. And then our regular general auctions, a couple of estate auctions, including Toy Shaw, which did really well. That was the Art Deco auction we did in December. During those 17 auctions, we sold 4,069 lots. We had 3,812 registered bidders. That's what this looks like. This is our heat map of just the United States for 2019. We had bidders register from every state in the country, reached bidders in all 50 states. We also had bidders in Canada, United Kingdom, Germany, Austria, Australia, and America Samoa. That's kind of amazing. That was the other ones we sold to before. America Samoa, the new country for us this year. So this is just 2019's, continental United States bidders. You can see that we're all over the country again. All 50 states were represented in our bidder pools. Those bidders, those 3,800 registered bidders, placed over 45,000 bids placed during our auctions. And to get to those bids, we had 882,000 lot views. And those are just during the time the auction is online. Those numbers stop counting once the auction is done. So those are really, really great numbers that we would do. To do some averages, that's, what did I see here? 239 lots in auction, 216 views per lot on average. So on average, our lots are being viewed over 200 times, which is, of course, very important and powerful if you're a seller for us. And we strive to do more with that every day. And some of our efforts have been noticed nationally. This year, the National Auctioneers Association asked me to speak at their national conference and show again about using social media to promote auctions. Obviously, we were quite successful with that, and we shared a lot of information with other auctioneers, professional auctioneers on the country. They also asked me to do an iSeries webinar talking about social media marketing, which again was seen by hundreds of auctioneers across the country and across the globe. That's a webcast webinar that I believe we've posted the link here before. If you want that information, we can happily share that with you. So what is that, what some of the other things we did this year? I did a Skype television interview with All That Stuff in Pennsylvania. Was earned Best of Kansas City Auction House and Pitch 2019 for the fourth time in 6 years. They did a video of us about that, and then we turned it a really kind of a fun party for that as well. Some of the other things we did this year, we worked with KCPT again, their Antique Fine Art Appraisal event, where we organized about 20 appraisers and had hundreds of people come in with really interesting things over at El Torreon here in the Midtown area, right by the station. And had a lot of fun with that. Raised a lot of money for the station. I think it raised over $30,000 or $40,000 for KCPT here, public television here in Kansas City. I know they were very happy with that, and I believe I'll start talking again about doing the next one here, hopefully this year. And sometimes we do it every year, sometimes we do it every other year. I did a fair amount of traveling this year, starting with went to Indiana in March to finish my CAI designation, Certified Auctioneers Institute. Less than 5% of auctioneers around the world have attained that designation, and that is that pin right there. I earned that designation this year. It's a 3-year program, projects, reports, all kinds of fun stuff, and because of that, part of the reason I've been asked to speak by the NAA is because I've achieved that designation. I went to New York City to go to a business art conference. That was really fascinating. Just hear international speakers about the arts, art business. There were several auction houses represented, including Heinemann in all across the country now. Christie's had a speaker, Phillips had a speaker, and then other fine art investors, advisors were speakers. Blockchain technology was talked about, the importance of provenance, and that type of conversation was had, which has become a really big issue over the last couple of years. You know, you may or may not know there's a gallery in New York. He was actually stealing paintings. He was a legitimate gallery open for a long, long time. He was actually stealing paintings from friends and clients, selling them without their knowledge. He's now going to be in jail for a long, long time. Here in Kansas City, that conversation came up with the Thomas Hart Benton estate and UMB. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, the possible mismanagement of the Benton estate. There's, I think, 60 to 90 paintings missing at this point, and other allegations of mismanagement of that estate. So that'll be a fascinating story to watch in 2020. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. We've started actually talking to some people kind of involved with that over the years. Because of that conversation I had, I've had several people contact me with information that's really quite fascinating. While I was in New York City for our business conference, I met with Tama Haynes, the antiques dealer from Italy. She was in New York City doing something else. We met, had a great conversation, and we've done some things on Instagram since then and plan to do some more. She does a podcast. She has the antique business. She has an antiques business consultation company that she has started. That's really interesting and fascinating to watch. And we're kind of starting to be a part of that. Looking forward to more conversations with Tama over the next year. Worked with the Makerista, again, local Instagram influencer. She's come to the office many times. Gwen is always fun to have. Did a bunch of appraisal events. So everybody from obviously KCPT to Clay County, Missouri, did private events and other appraisal events. They went at the Albrecht Kemper Museum up in St. Joe this year. It went really, really well. They had great turnout, and I'm sure they're going to do that one again at raise money and awareness for the museum, and had a really good time seeing that and looking at their collection, which was quite impressive. I was surprised that St. Joe had such a wonderful museum with such a great quality of a collection there. One of the things we've done for years is work with the Symphony in the Flint Hills. We're very passionate about that. They have a new executive director we're going to meet here soon. Thanks for watching, Matt. We're talking about 2019 year in review. Had a lot of interesting things happen. If you have questions or anybody else who's watching has questions, go ahead and post them below. We'll be happy to address them during the conversation here today or afterwards as we see the messages. But the Symphony in the Flint Hills, for the first time in their 12-year history, had to cancel the event. There was a microburst at the event site the day before the event happened, and tents were destroyed. There was just absolutely no way to safely get people in and out because of all the rain. There was no room for tent. I mean, it was just a real mess. But that really affected their fundraising, because one of the things they do at the event is their art auction, which we help promote and publicize prior to the event. But this year, because they had the weather issue, we actually did their auction online for them and raised a lot of money, helped them raise a lot of money for their organization, which does a lot of work to raise awareness of the Flint Hills and the tallgrass natural prairie area, which is a beautiful, beautiful area. It's almost like looking at the ocean, but with grass. The rolling hills and the Flint Hills are just really beautiful. We've always been fascinated with and enjoy going down there to listen to the symphony. But again, that was canceled this year. Something I did this year, which I never had a chance to do before, was the Jackson County, Missouri tax lien auction. Did that for a couple of days. Helped the city clear books, raise funds for their taxes for delinquent taxpayers. It was interesting. The vast majority of properties were owned by developers and organizations. They weren't owned by people who had lost their houses because of taxes. Although there was a very little bit of that. Most of them were companies that were trying to capitalize on buying properties and flipping them, and for whatever reason couldn't. So we were selling a lot of properties for organizations and small businesses, and giving other people opportunities to create their wealth. It was an interesting day, a couple of days. One of the interesting things I did this year, I went to Minneapolis to hear Edward Tuft speak on data visualization. Edward Tuft has been in the data industry for 30 or 40 years, very successful, very well respected speaker and author, also as an artist, which is interesting. But he talks about how to best use visual assets to tell a story and some of the good things that speakers have done and presenters do, and some bad things. And I definitely learned quite a bit, and I'm reviewing the books regularly to try and increase my presentation ability. I do a lot of presentations. I do a lot of speaking to people individually, but also to groups around the country. And so anything I can do to improve my capabilities there, I'm always looking to do. Did a couple of podcasts this year, including Startup Hustle, Matt DeCourcy, and then the United Country Auction and Realty Company up in Kansas City. Actually, United Country Real Estate, a 100-year-old company based here in Kansas City. They do the Sale Ring podcast regularly, and I was a guest on there again, talking about social media marketing, which if you're watching this, you know that it works. And then that's kind of it. It was a crazy busy year. We had so many really interesting things happen. Had some great sales too. Obviously, we had sold a couple of Berger Sanzanes for more than $25,000. Sold Lister Raymer paintings for more than $10,000. Louis Vuitton trunks for over $5,000. Jewelry over $10,000. It's a really good year. Obviously, we sold thousands of items worth less than a couple $100 too. But it was a great year. A lot of varied values and interesting things, and 2020 is shaping up to be much like that. Hopefully we're going to continue to take better, improve our quality of merchandise, improve the quality of our presentations. We're always looking to make our pictures better and the whole process better for our sellers and our buyers. If you have ideas on how we can do that, we'd love to hear them. You can tell I travel the country going to seminars and programs to try and get better. Of course, I'm watching YouTube videos and reading publications regularly, because at the end of the day, I want to be the best auction company in Kansas City. That's not just some sort of frilly title that the pitch bestows upon us, or the readers of the pitch. That's something I really strive to be. I want to have the best pictures, the best reputation, the best items to sell. There's a lot of competition here in Kansas City, and we appreciate everyone who's given us the opportunity to work for them in the past, and hopefully we'll continue to do so in the future. But if you have any ideas on how we can be better at that, I'd love to hear them. Other than that, 2020 is shaping up to be a great year. If you're an equity advisor, insurance salesperson, always looking for ways to give back to your clients. We do private appraisal events for those types of people regularly. You can reach out to us if you're an institution looking to raise funds. An appraisal event can be an easy way to do that. If you're a small business group wants to learn about social media marketing, I'm happy to talk about that. I have slide decks for that prepared regularly, and we're looking at doing more of that. In fact, we're going to be that's an interesting bevy of emotions rolling through the screen there. But we're looking to, we're obviously speaking regularly, and the NAA and I are in talks about speaking more, becoming more involved with their education programs. I think giving back to my community in that kind of way is important. I've gotten a lot from the NAA, and I've gotten a lot from other business mentors and groups in Kansas City. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I talk about this stuff to people all the time and how to further their business in those kinds of ways. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, 2019 was interesting. 2020 is looking exciting, and we're looking forward to that as we go forward in the next couple of days. Have a great afternoon, great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.